Hello, this is Brian. Today is Tuesday, October 4th, 2022, and I am here in southwestern Rose Canyon in beautiful San Diego. And today is time for a Spotlight on Shrubs video. So today, I want to talk about this awesome thicket-forming shrub here. That's this. Sandbar, also known as coyote willow or narrow-leaf willow, and this is Salix exigua, today's spotlight. So here we are along this canyon bottom with lots of riparian species of plants. Riparian basically means streamside, and it comes from Latin ripa, which means shore or bank, like the shore or the bank of a creek or a river or a pond. So what we have here is basically a form of riparian woodland full of different types of willows, and then we're a little bit upland from the main bottom, but we also still have more riparian vegetation. Willows, cottonwoods, sycamores, coast live oaks. So here we have Salix exigua. Now, the common name narrowleaf willow alludes to the very narrow leaves of the willow species. So you see here, they're kind of an olive color, kind of an olive green, little hue of grayishness, and it is typically a winter-deciduous, small to quite tall shrub, almost always multi-trunked. I've never seen it form a tree, so I'm sticking with shrub on this one. And usually up to maybe about 10 feet tall, maybe a little bit taller. Some of these may be more like 12 feet tall. But this is a nice population of it right here. Now, some botanists divide Salix exigua into varieties. Different varieties like Salix exigua variety exigua, and Salix exigua variety hindisiana, which would be Hind's willow. I really can't tell you how to separate the two if we were to divide these up into varieties, so I'm just going to focus on Salix exigua itself, just as the species. So again, very narrow leaves, especially on older and adult branches. These adult branches here have relatively narrow leaves. They're sessile, they're subsessile to sessile, and what sessile means is without a leaf stalk, without a petiole. A petiole is a fancy name for a leaf stalk. Now a lot of these leaves are sessile, in other words, they don't have a leaf stalk. Some of them do have a very short one, which would be considered subsessile. So these ones appear to be at least subsessile, and in some cases fully sessile. Some of these do appear to have a very short petiole. And then along the edge of the leaves, sometimes it's slightly wavy, sometimes some very gentle teeth along the edge of the leaves. The above and below portions tend to be slightly fuzzy with some slight hairs. And I was talking about adult foliage. Now, with a lot of plants, they have two different types of foliage. Adult foliage on more established branches and plants, and juvenile foliage on younger shoots and younger plants. There is a difference between the typical adult foliage you see in the canopy of the shrubs to what you'll see on younger shoots, such as this. If you notice here on this small Sandbar Willow sprout, is that these leaves are a little broader. The leaves are a little wider, and they're even a little fuzzier. So there's more of a pubescence on these leaves. And they tend to be more sessile, more totally sessile. This one's a little more intermediate. The leaves are quite narrow, maybe slightly broader than on the adult branches. And again, they're the adult branches. So like our other species of willow, in the springtime, and this is October, so it's not a good time for that. Well, you can kind of see. You can kind of see these things here. These are the old flower structures called catkins. Catkins are usually dangling linear clusters of flowers, kind of similar to a raceme. And this is a willow, so its flowers are in catkins. Male catkins and female catkins. And I believe this is a dioecious species. Dioecious meaning male and female plants are separate. So one set of plants will have all male flowers, and in the other set will have female flowers. So if they're both males and females in the same vicinity, the male flowers can pollinate the female plants, and then the female plants' flowers can turn into seeds. However, a lot of times the way that this plant broadens its population is not so much by seeds, but a lot of times by root sprouts. These are colony-forming shrubs. So a lot of these here, I wouldn't be surprised if just about this whole area, or at least most of it, is under one root system. Like a lot of plants in the willow family, which include those quaking aspen trees you see in the Rocky Mountains and the Sierra Nevada, they are generally male clones that spread by root shoots. So there's probably a massive root system underneath this soil here that connects these all to it. So like a lot of willows, Sandbar willow is very much a colony forming shrub. Let's see here. This actually appears to have been a female, because those look like the pistillate flowers that probably didn't get pollinated, but they almost look like the seed capsules you'd expect that split open and release cottony seeds. So when these do fruit, they have these seed capsules that split open, as you might have kind of seen. Yeah, these appear to be pistillate, so this must be a female colony. So these little seed capsules, see, this is what a catkin looks like. It's the structure of a catkin. The flower and the fruit come in these catkin clusters. That one must have been a female, because I can see the little narrow splits where the seeds would have been, but I don't know if these plants were fertilized or pollinated, say pollinated more appropriately, by any males. This is the only colony I've seen so far. But I don't come across this one super often, so coming across a nice population of it here in Rose Canyon prompted me to do the spotlight video today, because I haven't done a spotlight in a couple weeks, and I almost didn't do one today until I found this here. So I mentioned before that this is a willow. So it's in the willow family, Salicaceae, and I did maybe briefly mention that it's winter-deciduous generally. I would imagine the leaves might be partially persistent in very warm winters and in warmer climates, but for the most part we consider these winter-deciduous, and they do get a slight dullish yellow fall color. As you can see, this is kind of what you can expect. We're starting to get a little bit of a fall color, maybe a little bit of a deciduousness going on, but this is kind of what you can kind of expect. kind of expect. This is what you can expect fall color wise right here for the most part. Kind of a dull yellow, maybe some hints of slight orange tinge in some of the leaves. And then generally during the winter these things will be leafless bundles of upright sticks. But again, root colony forming, and they can be locally common to locally abundant here in Southern California. And I'll post the range in video text, so you'll be able to see, because I think it's supposed to be quite widespread here in the western and southwestern United States, but I'll give you more of a specific range, or at least a general range that's outside of this area. But I've seen this here at near sea level, or maybe about 150 feet above sea level, and I've seen it above 5,000 feet in the San Gabriel Mountains. Another good place to see this is near the Willow area off Angeles Crest Highway in the San Gabriel Mountains, Los Angeles County. There's like a little drainage near the visitor center, Willow Visitor Center, and you'll see some small thickets of these growing along the side of the drainage too. So this is one of quite a few species of willows we have here in Southern California. Another species of willow that's very, very common, it's probably the most common willow here in Southern California, period. Actually, I would say it is the most common willow. This is its relative, the Salix exigua, the arroyo willow, which has much larger leaves. Not likely to confuse sandbar willow with arroyo willow. I wouldn't really think that would be too easy to confuse. Arroyo willow is a much bulkier shrub, sometimes small tree, much larger leaves, much larger trunks, and again, look at the finer texture of the really narrow foliage here on Salix exigua. So there you have it, Sandbar willow, aka narrowleaf willow, sometimes called coyote willow, probably a few other names. And if we do divide it into Salix exigua variety exigua and Salix exigua variety hindisiana, then Heinz willow might be a part of it. But I also heard of Salix hindisiana being a separate species, but that, again, I'm not really going too deep with the possible taxonomy. I'm just going to stick with Salix exigua. There it is, Sandbar willow. Thanks for watching my spotlight on shrubs. Hope you enjoyed it and found it useful in helping to identify yet another awesome species of plant growing here in SoCal. And hope to see you on the next episode. Thanks for watching.